Hey, it's James, Father's Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got cussy. I'm going to go through all the excuses and all the reasons why people say it's somebody else's fault why I got screwed in family court. And we're going to break it down. If you actually care about truth and answers, then you'll listen. If you're one of these excuse makers who want to project blame on everybody else except yourself, and you're too lazy or scared to fight for your kids, and you don't love your kids enough to fight for them, then you'll make an excuse. So, we already know the court system is biased. So, let's take the excuse of dad saying, oh, the court system is anti-father. Okay, I knew they were anti-father. I had a sister who had two previous boyfriends that each spent $100,000, one in a marriage, one outside of marriage, fighting for their kids and got royally screwed. They were businessmen who spent six figures. My sister warned me, just give the mother whatever she wants. I said, I can't do that. I got to fight. I followed my conscience. Excuse number one's out the window. Well, I had to follow what the lawyer said, and I had to follow what everybody else. If you're not following your conscience, it's your fault that you lost in court because you didn't try and follow your conscience and fight for your kids despite what everybody says, despite what everybody thinks, despite how it looks. You're a people pleaser and you want to make everybody else happy and don't want to hurt anybody else's feelings, which in short makes you a bitch because you don't want to fight for your kids. Fighting for your kids is less important than appeasing everybody and everybody, because when you come across a family court situation, when you come across this stuff, you will be encountered with stuff that doesn't make any damn sense. Oh, well, you just got to kind of roll with the punches or follow the process. Or stuff like, well, the guardian ad litem said what they said, and the courts usually listen to guardian ad litems. How about we argue against the guardian ad litem this time? A lot of you don't have the balls to follow your conscience and use common sense. And you'll listen to, like, when you walk into family court, it's like the Twilight Zone, right? Everybody's acting like mothers are superior to men. Everybody will ignore the mother's alienation, withholding the child, playing games, her boyfriend that moved in that has a history of violence. They'll ignore all that stuff. But also, so will you and your attorney say, well, we can't bring that up. That'll look like we're attacking. What's wrong with that? Go attack, bitch. But you won't say that because you're scared and you're a bitch. You don't want to hurt your attorney's feelings or the guardian ad litem feelings or the judge's feelings. So let's say you go through your whole court case for 6 months, a year, year and a half, 2 years, and you make everybody happy, the guardian ad litem, the judge, your attorney, and you don't piss anybody off, and your kids are stolen from you. How do you feel now, bitch? You can't be that stupid. Why don't you follow your conscience? I did it. And I was a warehouse worker who flunked out of college who didn't know what I was doing. And I refused to tolerate anybody telling me I was going to be less than a 50-50 dad. Goldberg and Jones, divorce lawyers for men, told me, you'll probably get every other weekend. I said, are you out of your damn mind? I live 3 blocks from the mother and I work at night. I should at least have my daughter during the day. And a Goldberg and Jones attorney told me, and I have a whole video on my YouTube channel about how corrupt Goldberg and Jones is. They're out there meeting a void or a need of father's rights attorneys, and they're lying about it, and they're laughing behind closed doors because I've talked to attorneys who work there. It's a big sham. They pretend to care about fathers. And they told me, you'll probably still get it every weekend. Click! I hung up on their face. I said, well, you want something done right, do it yourself. 99.9% of you such pussies, you never even think about the possibility of doing it yourself. What you do is say, well, nobody wants to fight for me, so I better hire one of the people who doesn't want to fight for me because I can't do it myself. Bitch, you can at least go to court and lose by yourself for free. I just can't believe you guys are appalled at the Twilight Zone and the craziness of family court. I'm appalled at the Twilight Zone of talking to you shit talkers. I'll do anything for my kid. I'll die for my kids. Okay, go to court and call the mother a child abuser and say her alienation is child abuse and the children need to be rescued. I can't do that. I'll hurt the guardian lion's feelings and I'm, blah, 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 and I got to make everybody happy. Bitch. Whatever. Then there's the parents who said, well, I don't know the law, I don't know how to do this, I don't know. And you say, I don't know so much, you never shut the F up and go look up the law yourself. It's right there on the internet for you. That's like somebody signing up, just saying, I don't know how to do this. Nobody knows how to do anything in life until they're taught and they learn how to do it. You learned how to do something in life. How did you learn? You went to school, you got trained, or somebody told you. Go and learn and stop being so intimidated that you're paralyzed to not even look up stuff. You could have found me any time on the internet since 2008 or 2009, but you didn't because you're too lazy to even look for help. Because you're so caught up in, well, let me listen to a lawyer, and if a lawyer tells me something crazy, I won't look anywhere else for a second opinion or anything else. If your kid is sick, and they got a life-threatening disease, or they got something that's a problem, and you're kind of worried about, 50% of kids who get this treatment, they get sicker or they die from the treatment, you might go and look for a second opinion. How come you can't look for a second opinion on how to fight for your kid? Because when we go to family court, men and some women turn into brainless zombie bitches who can't think anymore. If you want to learn how to drive and get a driver's license, you take driver's ed. On the first day of driver's ed, you don't raise your hand and say, I don't know how to drive, 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 I don't know the rules of the road, I don't know the rules of the road. If you don't know something, find out how to learn it. I don't know legal mumbo jumbo. You're so intimidated and you think it's so hard. And then you go to court and you watch your attorney half-ass everything. And then you think, man, I could have argued that. They didn't do anything. They didn't talk any super deep legal mumbo jumbo. They said plain English. I could have done that. But then when I say, why don't you grow some balls and be a man and learn how to do this stuff yourself and light a fire into your attorney? I don't know how to do this. I don't know how. That's your pussy-ass bitch excuse to not fight like a bitch. Wake the hell up. This is the problem. I just had a couple of bitches on YouTube talk about how, I don't like the way you do that. You spend so much time talking about how guys are bitches and cowards. That's the root of the problem. Do you want me to ignore it? You go to family court and argue why you should have 50-50, and you ignore the mother's child abuse and her abusive boyfriend and how the guardian lion was lying. You go to court and pretend you ignore the elephant in the room. The actual winning argument is right there, and you don't open your mouth and say it. And then I tell you what the root of the problem is for your approach to your family court case, and you don't like hearing it. Oh, James, you keep complaining about the root of the problem. If you have something dirty in your fuel lines or if your filters are dirty or something like that, and all you're doing is saying, my gas efficiency on this car sucks. I'm getting only 15 miles a gallon. I should be getting 25. And you never look into cleaning out the system and the efficiency of the gas from the inside. Or let's say you got cancer. And you're like, look at this cancer on my arm, or look at this cancer over here. And you never address the root of the problem, and you keep eating and doing stuff, what you're doing. And you could reverse the cancer or stop it or go into remission if you change the root of the problem. And somebody tells you, hey, or type 2 diabetes, stop eating sugar, stop eating candy. I like candy, I like sugar. Stop telling me about candy. Tell me something different. No, dumbass, that's the root of the problem, bitch. The root of the problem is you guys don't have any accountability. You don't light a fire under your attorney. You don't get on the offensive. You walk into court and you just hope and pray that by some osmosis miracle, the judge and mental telepathy, the judge figures out that the mom ain't that great. Meanwhile, your pussy-ass bitch self goes in there and pretends that she's great, and you want the judge to make a finding that she's an alienator. But you never bring it up. This is freaking insane. And I just had somebody, I told them a month ago they need to object to the father's relocation. She didn't hit me up until like a day before. I said, what's going on? Oh, well, somebody told me I don't have to file because he didn't file. I told you to look up the law. He doesn't have to file. Now you're screwed.